Are you familiar with the concept of scoreagami?
I can imagine what it might mean. I've never heard of the concept, but it sounds like a good one when you're a part of it.
It is unique final scores in the history of the NFL. Yesterday was the first 43-20 game in the history of the NFL. So congratulations to you guys for that.
Every time you mix in a safety with some scores, you probably got a chance to be a part of a sportagami or a scoreagami. But certainly, I thought, the team got off to a fast start, and certainly our fans get into that early, and I think our team feeds off that. So it was, coming off a bye, I thought the staff did a great job of really, going through the first third of the season and, seeing, what our tendencies may be and, coming up with a game plan that I think really, the team fed off of.
I'm curious your take on the offensive line for the rest of the game as opposed to, say, the first 6 plays when it looked like the potential was there for a long day for Dak.
Well, certainly we didn't get off, to the fastest start. We were wanting to come out and throw the ball, which I think everybody was able to, get their hands around in quick order. That was some of the things we looked at early, during the bye week was that, we certainly were, convicted to run the ball. But, we did get off to a slow start there, giving up 3 sacks. One was negated by a penalty. But, after that we settled in, and I thought the offense really executed from that point forward. And I thought overall, in all 3 phases, we, played top-notch football.
I just saw from Ed Werder that the Cowboys have 9 block punts since y'all brought Bones Fossil in, and I'm just kind of they've done this team right now looks like it could be a top 5 special teams. What kind of job has Fossil done since he's gotten here, and even this year added to it?
Well, my hat's off to him. He's certainly has just a passion for his job, and I know he looks for every little detail week in and week out, ways to utilize the skill sets of the personnel that we have and get them in the right positions to make big plays. Obviously, the block punt, started the momentum, and then a huge return by Turpin and the special teams unit, on the ensuing punt kickoff, if you will, that comes after a safety. And certainly we sprung another one there. It was just unfortunate that we got a holding penalty, probably even on somebody who wasn't even going to be in the play. So, overall, this team's trending in the right direction, making plays throughout the year. I know we've, scored a 2-point conversion off an extra point kick. I mean, he's always looking for unique ways to give our team an advantage, and certainly it's paid off.
And not to be lost in the special teams extravaganza, Brandon Aubrey kicking a 58-yard field goal like it was nothing.
Well, I think that one might have been good from 70. He really got his leg into that, and he's just been outstanding all year. I know got everybody's attention when he missed his first extra point after what we went through last year, but he's been nothing but spot on from that point forward, and just been obviously not only a top kicker for us, but one of the top kickers in the NFL at this point. And kickoffs have been outstanding. He's just certainly done a great job for us, exceeded all expectations.
Yeah, and I'm sure every time he makes one, you kind of nudge Jerry, and you're like, I can't pick a good kicker.
I just, that's good. That was my kicker. Aubrey was. So the other ones we've been letting Jerry pick them, but he had to step aside on this one.
I like it.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, we'll be sure to talk to Jerry about that as well. I'm sure he'll agree.
Will McClay will claim that he picked him, and Bones will claim that he picked him, and McCarthy will claim that he picked him. Success has 1,000 fathers.
Yeah, and failure is an orphan. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that saying. Now, there's so much good coming out of this game. I'm hoping you can tell us not just about the pick six, but the general thoughts about the quick evolution of Daron Bland with the team.
Well, I think his evolution started last year. I think he led all rookies. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he may have led all rookies in interceptions last year. So he's just continued to be a playmaker for us. He was obviously our starting nickel before Diggs was injured, and he's left. We certainly think Diggs may be right there coaching him up, because he certainly picked up right where Diggs left off. With takeaways and just doing a great job for us. Of course, Jordan Lewis filling right back in where he left off as well as our starting nickel now. And really think that group, that whole back end back there, is playing at a high level.
Yeah, the other, I mean, as great as Bland's been, because I think he has the tie right now for touchdowns. He's tied with CeeDee Lamb at 3 right now. But the evolution of Marquise Bell too. Would he be playing where he's playing if Dan Quinn wasn't the coordinator for this team, you think?
I would suspect not. I think Dan's just got a great vision for these type of players. I'll give Dan credit when we're looking at looking at Bell in the draft. He had a vision for him that he might be a linebacker first, and he had been heavier at different points in his college career, but felt like, he could be certainly one of those hybrid safety / linebacker types. But, he had a vision for him. The scouts agreed with the vision after scouting him. And, he's one of those things when you communicate and you come up with a consensus, you end up with a good pick. I know, he was a guy who was, right there, made the 53 last year, and, glad we kept him and didn't expose him, because he's really, continuing to develop as a guy who's going to be a really good football player in this defense.
When Chuma Edoga gets carted off, it's easy to automatically assume the worst, but is it now looking like perhaps the injury is not as bad as originally thought?
Actually, the initial news we're getting back on Chuma is that, it's not as bad as we first feared. And you always worry about those when they land on the outside of the ankle and push inward. The good news, it wasn't torqued in the right direction to give him a high ankle. And I think he's got an opportunity to be in the plans and be available, hopefully as early as this week. And certainly Tyron was real close to getting back for this game, and hopefully we'll have a full allotment of our offensive linemen there in terms of availability for the Eagles.
Do you get any concern on the Tyron front that this is the second time he started a week of practice looking like he would be good to go and then got dinged up in practice?
No, I think these are things that sometimes are just unfortunate, and I think that's the case here with Tyron in terms of these a couple of the freak injuries he's had here in practice. I know he was wanting to play yesterday. The doctors and the trainers decided, that it was in his best interest not to, in terms of the strength level, albeit close. And I just think he'll respond this week, and hopefully he'll be ready to go against the Eagles.
With the trade deadline approaching, Stephen, I'm just kind of curious if there's a spot on your team, because we know Jerry has said, look, we feel good about this team. We're confident there. But is there a spot on your team that you're like, I would like to add more depth? If I can, I feel like that could make us an even better contender.
Yeah, I think the ones you always look for to replace where you've had some injuries. I mean, obviously you lose a Diggs, you're a man down at corner. Certainly Bland has stepped up and done a great job, and we've got Nashon back in the mix, who's doing a good job for us. We made the trade with Kelvin Joseph there for Noah, and so we've got a good group. We were heavy at corners when we started the season, and then, of course, between losing Overshone and now Leighton, we've lost a couple of backers there, so you're always looking, to replace that depth. But we've also got some good players that have stepped up. You mentioned Bell. I mean, he started the season more with the safety in front of his name, and now, he's our starting linebacker, so he certainly stepped up and filled that role. But, we always keep our, if you will, hook in the water, and if the right situation comes along to improve this football team, I do know, we're all ears and certainly willing to consider anything. That's the way Jerry wants everybody to be, as aggressive, and certainly between Will and myself, we're always looking and listening for opportunities to improve this football team.
I was listening to Brad Sham this morning as he was on with Sean and RJ, and this is where this question came from, was when it comes to the offensive line and the run game right now, have you figured out whether it's individual blocking or scheme that's kind of keeping this from turning into a more explosive running game?
I think it's a work in progress. I think I think teams, as I mentioned before at the start of the show, I think when we self-critique ourselves during the bye, I think there's no question teams are game planning us knowing that we have a conviction to want to run the football. And I think as we loosen it up like we did yesterday and have the type of success we had throwing the football, that at some point you can't keep letting, or you got to try to prevent CeeDee Lamb from catching 10, 11, 12 passes. And, us having the success we did in the passing game will certainly loosen things up. So I just think it's a work in progress, and I feel like we'll continue to get better. And I know we've got the players who can make those explosive plays, especially Tony Pollard.
I think we all realize that the NFL games count the same with the exception of tiebreakers and everything like that. But can you already start the hype for the Eagles game? Are you already fired up or still basking in the glow of yesterday's win?
No, I think everybody enjoyed their night last night, and everybody's totally focused on the Eagles now. Obviously, they're the defending champs in the NFC East, and for that matter, the NFC representation in the Super Bowl. And you've to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. So we know we've got to go on the road. They're a great football team. Certainly playing at a high level again this year. I think they have the best record in the NFL, and they've got a lot of great football players. But we love our team too, and it's going to be a classic NFC East matchup. And we look forward to the game. And we got our work cut out for us, but we've got to go up there and execute. And I know everybody will be laser focused on this football game.
Appreciate it very much, good sir. Look forward to talking to you again next week.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
There you go. Stephen Jones right here on 105.3 The Fan.